A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I forgot to think up a way to start the show. James, hello.
Hi, Brock.
It's been so long.
It has been. You've been away on vacay, as they say.
For a long 7-day trip. And
Felt
I
like 7 hours.
returned, and now I'm in another, and I even in Mississauga. I'm in London, Ontario.
You are.
But that's not important. Where are we doing today, James? What is this?
This is the Rebel Scum Podcast, the Rebel Scum show version of the Rebel Scum Podcast, where you and I, Brock and James, talk.
I'm gonna point at you.
We're gonna talk Star Wars
I'm
all day.
Brock, and
I'm James. We're doubling. I'm doubling miking today. I keep hitting my mic with it. This is a great opening to the show. We've been doing this all week. Also, I don't know if you've been on the channel at all because you've been in Calgary and Alberta, where they don't have the internet yet.
No, they don't.
They don't. So
it's carrier pigeons.
Yeah, we had a great week so far. We had the guys from Rebel Watch on. We did a video with them the other day, and I did a video for their channel where they asked me the question, is Andrew's last name actually Fantasia?
It's Fantasia.
It's Fantasia. I explained the whole origin of it. I'm sure I got it wrong, but that's what I did. So this was one of the slowest weeks ever of Star Wars since we started this podcast. I don't know if you were aware of that being away.
50 episodes. Like, I don't think we've spent 50 days together as friends, but to focus on this fun project.
This is reminiscent of last summer. Like our third and fourth episodes were done over Skype like this. Remember that? Because I was away and we couldn't get together, so this is how we had to do it at that point. So it's kind of a nice little callback to the early days of the Rebel Scum Podcast. Can I bring something up just before we get into the show? And this has to do with the show, but this is a beginning side Akbar. I keep hitting the thing. A beginning side Akbar where Jonit Clemente. Look, I'm butchering his name or her name. I'm very, very sorry. I asked for pronunciation and I didn't get it yet because I just asked for it. Anyway, they mentioned we did a video. So I did the video with the Rebel Watch guys about Luke's exile because in the Darth Vader comic, the Barash vow was brought up.
Yes.
So you know all about that because you've been reading that. And so we talked about the Barash vow and the possibility that Luke Skywalker took the Barash vow.
Mm.
So we did this video and Clemente here, or Clement, sorry again, they say that what if Luke lost his connection with the Force and that's why he went away, and the Force Awakens actually refers to Luke Skywalker.
Oh, interesting.
That's a nice little twist to that, right?
This is the wonder of Star Wars, where basically we learned this new thing in 2 pages of a comic book, and now our imagination has taken it to new depths. Because I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but now we don't really know much about this Jedi I don't even know if they name him in the.
Yeah, his name is I can't remember his name, but he does have a name. Yeah, he does have a name.
And I was gonna say Star Wars, but the Darth Vader comic. I actually went to the comic store hoping to get the third one because I did watch the thing. I'm like, oh, we gotta follow this because I'm glad you guys did that one.
Did you get the third issue?
I don't think it's out yet. Is it?
It is, and I've heard some people are saying that it's difficult to find at their comic stores. Some comic shops have gotten it, some haven't. So I don't know I haven't got the second one yet. I did read the Barash Vow portion of it, so I haven't been to a comic book store to see, but this is what I've been hearing. So I don't know the exact date that it says when you get the issue, but from what I've heard is that it should be out.
Realistically, if I can't find a physical copy, I'll get a digital copy and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, definitely. Because this week we have a very special edition of books and comics coming up.
Or comics.
Yeah.
I have comics, but I have not read them yet.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Busy with work now. Yeah, but it's been a very, very slow week in Star Wars land. But let's just move on with the show quickly here. Brock, I'm going to take this over this part because you cannot read what's on the screen right now, but it is our t-shirt design contest. There are only 2 weeks left for the contest. 2 weeks. Can you believe that? No, you can't.
Can't believe it.
The rules are the designs must be Rebel Scum Podcast specific, meaning you cannot just put a Star Wars character on a t-shirt. It has to be something to do with the show, and we have got some great ones coming in as of late. You should upload your design to TeePublic or email them to us. Remember, if you upload yourself on your own TeePublic page, you will keep the royalties for that shirt, and if it's to us, then we unfortunately we'll keep those royalties. That's not our rule. That is the TeePublic rule. There's just no other way around it. The contest will end on July 31st, which is right around our 51-year anniversary show, and we'll announce the winner the next week. The winner will be based on sales and a vote by Brock and myself, and the winner will receive a TeePublic merchandise. It's a whole shebang. Also, there's going to be a sale on our store coming soon, so if one of those t-shirts you emailed us and we uploaded for you, try to get your friends and family to purchase that and get ahead in the contest. But this is just for fun also. We should point out that this t-shirt contest is for fun because a lot of people have come to me and said, I'm not artistic. I don't know what to do. And I respond, just write a slogan. It could be anything. It could be whatever you want. Anything is fine, right?
Exactly. Creativity comes in many forms.
Yeah. Just have fun with it.
Just have fun with it. Just have fun.
You just have fun with it, dude. Just have fun with it. So I gotta bring this up to you now.
Yeah,
we're going through this one. I was thinking, what are we going to talk about this week? Because we talked about the Barrage Vow with the Rebel Watch guys, which you were not able to join us because you were at a wedding.
Yep.
And I did and I was looking at things. I'm like, what's in the news? What are the rumors? And one rumor that I heard is the possibility that Rey Skywalker, that Rey Kenobi could possibly join the Knights of Ren.
See, I like that because, as I've said in previous episodes, I want to know so much about the Knights of Ren. Even if they're not that interesting, I just want to know what they are, who they are. Are they fallen Jedi? Are they something else? How are they? Are they different from the Sith, or are they just a new branch of the Sith? I don't know. But I feel like that would be very, very interesting if that ended. But do you think they could pull that off in one movie, where she flips from one side to the other?
I think they could. I just don't know what the movie's about, so I can't say if The Last Jedi is a movie where that happens. But I have to give a shout out to Qui-Gon Josh on YouTube, because while I read somebody wrote it somewhere, it might have been on Facebook, I'm not sure where, so I can't give credit there. But when I did type in just to see if it's been talked about at all, Qui-Gon Josh on YouTube did a video on it in September 2016. So this is an idea that actually has been around for quite some time. I like it because somebody pointed out to him actually that one of the Knights of Ren has a staff and they look very feminine, and that's what they pointed out. And so and the Force vision, from what we know, is actually taking place in the future, not the past.
Right. Yeah.
So that could be foreshadowed. But then I also think she's there. So yeah, it could be interesting because from what we've been hearing, the Knights of Ren arrive on Ach-To. And Kylo sends the Knights to go fight Luke, and Kylo goes after Rey. And Luke Luke disposes of the Knights like that. This is a spoiler, I guess, but nothing's confirmed, so don't worry about it too much. Take it with a grain of salt and then take some more salt. And then Kylo just talks to Rey, and apparently they have a very, very emotional conversation. This is the one that ends with Luke destroying that beehive, which I'm believing is just one of the huts on Ach-To now, from what we've seen from the Vanity Fair pictures. And we don't know what's said, but it obviously caused panic for Luke. And Luke is panicking because of what Kylo is saying to Rey. And maybe that is a catalyst she needs to say, hey, maybe Luke, and you're of the mind that that Luke is going to be a reluctant teacher. And
Mhm.
if you start adding all these pieces together, well, wouldn't she go with the person that seems to be open to her right away, as opposed to the old crazy man?
Yeah, no, wow, that really like that blows my whole thought on what the Last Jedi could be. If that the scene with the Knights of Ren from Force Awakens is a actual flash forward, as like a lot of like Lost would always would say that, a flash forward. Man, that because like everyone just assumes that it's in the past, but like, oh man, I'd be so in for that. I mean, because like we're assuming they're evil, but what if they're not evil, right? Like, what if
Yeah.
I don't know? Like, obviously, the Knights of Ren does exist in the current time of Force Awakens because they talk about it, but we know nothing else besides like, oh, hell, like the the characters we saw with Kylo on the rainy battlefield, they could not be. There's a chance that they're not the Knights of Ren. Like nobody has really confirmed.
Yeah, I was saying,
right?
I did an Unleash with Andrew that I think is going up next week, where I say there's even a chance, I would say a very small chance, but Ryan Johnson might even be like, we don't need to put the Knights of Ren in here because nothing's really even come up from the Knights of Ren, other than Snoke saying you are the leader of the Knights of Ren, or the master of the Knights of Ren, I should say. So, I mean, we know so little about it that the possibility of them not being bad, I think they are, though, because Kylo Ren is definitely a bad guy. Like, the mask gives away how bad he is. But the idea of Rey joining them intrigues me also, because it also intrigues me because I don't know if you remember when The Force Awakens came out, there were all the rumors that Hux was Luke's son, and he was undercover. Yeah. Kylo Ren was undercover. There's still talks, and people still believe that he could be, and he just killed Han Solo because he had to do that to get closer to Snoke. This could even work if what if it's actually Rey, and Rey is going undercover as the Knights of Ren, and she's pretending to fall for Kylo's, lies or truths or whatever they are, and decides, okay, you know what, I'm going to infiltrate the Knights of Ren here. I'm going to see what they're all about just to get me closer to Snoke, because Snoke is the one that's responsible for the death of my parents because I'm a Skywalker.
You had me there for a second.
Until the Skywalker part, that's where we leave off.
Yeah. We need to know more about this gosh darn movie.
Well, D20 we're going to talk about later, but D23 is coming up.
Yeah.
So we might learn a little tiny bit Saturday, July 15th.
Yeah, I think we're getting something for sure. I mean, they're not going to be at Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con, so
yeah.
I mean, you can still release a trailer, but the whole fanfare of it is always big, so you want to reveal something.
Yeah, the rumor is no trailer, but we'll talk about that in the news in a little bit. So you're all for Rey joining the Knights
Sure.
of...
I mean, if it makes sense. I know that's a bogus answer, but we've seen that she could possibly be back and forth between the good side and the light side of the dark, but that's based on she kind of looks like she's getting angry in that fight on Murder Planet.
I've always liked the idea of her turning. I like the idea of Rey going dark better than the idea of Kylo turning to the light side. That's where not that I think either one of them is going to happen.
No, yeah.
But based on everything that we've seen from Rey, I mean, and Snoke talks to her, on Murder Planet in the book. He whispers to her, kill him, about Kylo Ren. So the dark, she can be manipulated by the dark side very easily, I think. And whether or not Ryan Johnson decides to utilize that to exploit that, I have no idea. But I mean, I think is it too similar to Anakin? If they, that's my one issue with it is if are you just telling me, a quote unquote better version of the Anakin story because you didn't believe that the prequels were good movies, so now you want to rectify that with this one and tell a rise and fall story that you think is more appropriate. I'm not sure how it would make sense and how they could justify it as a separate story and convince me of that.
I don't know. It's hard to compare to Anakin because Anakin is doomed from the start because we're like he becomes Darth
but
Vader.
but maybe Rey is as well, and we just don't know it at this point.
True, but now if she becomes evil, it's more of a shock to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, do you think it's too similar though if they go that route?
Maybe. My initial response to her becoming evil is it probably won't happen because they have to make movies with happy endings unless you know what I mean. Like you typically don't like a movie like Star Wars has to have a happy ending. Even with like Rogue One where everybody dies, still kind of a happy ending because what they did saved people down the road, sort of thing.
And Raditz didn't die, and neither did Two Tubes, and they're going to have a buddy cop spinoff.
Exactly.
So there you go. Yeah. I'm so excited about it. It's just side Akbar on this one as I hit my mic again. I'm so excited for Two Tubes appearing on season 4 of Rebels. Stoked. Cannot wait.
Legit?
Yeah, we were at Celebration. We were at Celebration, and they had.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They showed Saw Gerrera and Two Tubes, and I was like, yeah. Oh, and by the way, this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, the first episode 1.5 of I Rebel. Andrew and I dissect episodes 1 to 3 of Star Wars Rebels. We're going to be doing that all summer. Hopefully, you can join us in that, Brock, if you stop working all the time.
Yeah, whatever.
And we're going to be Skyping. You're going to be in Mexico in a few weeks, and we'll be Skyping the show from there. That's exciting
and it's
stuff.
Called Guerrero Etoile or something like that.
Do me a favor. Just be eating guacamole and chorizo, please.
While on mic?
While on mic.
James.
I was just being jealous.
One thing that you brought my attention to this week was the Instagram feed, Star Wars Fake News.
Yes.
And I started following them, and every time they get me. Every time. Like, I just read one that, like it's so believable, too, because this is like Adam Driver is in contract to do 2 movies with an option of a third. And Disney says Lucas says they will not go forward with the third film. I'm like, what? And I look back, I'm like,
The one that actually caught my eye was the Dave Filoni has confirmed that Sabine Wren will be pregnant at the end of season 4. That one I was like, whoa! I sent that to you because I was like, that was hilarious to me because that's something that I think is on a lot of people's minds is the ending of Rebels.
I think my text was like, wait, what? And then I read the feed. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, but it's done up for those of you that haven't been on that site. It's done up like a legitimate like Star Wars Facts Instagram account where they have the still image and then a black bar and then white font, and you're like, oh, this is legit. And then the title is Star Wars Fake Facts. It's so.
Yeah, so Star Wars Fake News. If you like a laugh and to be stunned every once in a while, it definitely does the job.
Yeah, definitely. I was a huge fan of that one. But let's move on to The Forces of Destiny.
Yes. What a week.
Did you watch every single one of these?
I believe so, because I kept double checking that if I missed any, but I haven't seen any that I did.
It stopped on Sunday. I believe Sunday was the last one.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think of them as a whole? And then, second question, which would you say is your favorite of them all?
I like them because they give you a little slice of characters that, like, a side of the characters that you didn't get to see that much, or something in the movie that now is explained because, or explored, like in the Leia on Endor episode, you find out how she gets the dress and what have you and stuff. But then, of course, she gets to talk with Ewoks, so that's always fun.
That was awesome.
I'm trying to remember. The Hoth one is where she looks for Chewie.
It's the prequel to that deleted scene.
Yeah.
Which is now like it's like a GIF more than a deleted scene. That where C-3PO,
Yeah, and then you got to see a little Jyn Erso outside of like the movie. Some more Ahsoka, which is always great. And then did you like that Sam Wessel was in that?
Yeah, I love that. I love that one. Yeah.
But as a whole, they were good. The The Ray ones were good as well. I like how there was a continuation in that one.
Yeah.
I think that was the only one that really did that.
I still feel that I know they were focusing on the female characters, and that's fine, but I still feel like Poe would have been a more entertaining. Like they could have done more with a character like that than Rey, because they're handcuffed with Rey. We all love Rey. Everyone loves Rey. We're gonna get into a little bit Rey in the news. Everyone loves Rey, but you can't do anything with Rey, because anything you do with her, we're gonna be like, oh, no. I'm holding a glue stick.
Okay.
Don't know why, I just picked it up. But do you know what I mean? Like I just think, I know they're focusing on the females, but I think Poe would have been, well, because you're reading the comics. I said this a bunch of times. It's just all the characters are very equal in that we know part of their story, but not their whole story. So you can go in and tell us cool little things. Poe to me is more like the Princess Leia than, you know what I mean? Like in that respect of things. So anyway, but my favorite one actually was the Ahsoka Anakin one.
Yeah.
And not for any reason other than I felt like that was the one that had the most depth to it, actually, because of what it was telling us about the Ahsoka character and how it kind of propelled her forward as a character, and how Yoda recognizes how wise and how right-minded she is as a person. That one I really liked. The Ewok one, obviously, because of the dress. Sam Wessel.
Yeah.
I'm in, 100% in. And Jinner. So, but they didn't play her theme, which was really kind of disappointing.
Whatever.
But not that her theme is that memorable. Have you seen Spider-Man yet, Syed Akbar?
No, I haven't had time.
Michael Giacchino.
I flew in. I got home yesterday, and then we went out for drinks. I was like,
Michael Giacchino did the music for that one as well.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just say it's that was for the music, not the movie, but the music was, it was a Marvel film. That's it. Yeah. So Force of Destiny, I've heard the Rebel Watch guys, Mike and Ez, they kept bringing up that there's going to be a half an hour version of it in the fall. I haven't heard that. Have you? Huh?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I could see something like that. I feel like test of some sort. Like it's definitely a new direction for cartoon, Star Wars cartoons. Like I think they're trying to compete with like DC's doing those like superhero girls, where it's like Batgirl and Harley Quinn, and they're like cutesy sort of teen looking characters. But which is fun.
I think it's really smart. I mean, I grew up with two sisters, and one of them, Kristen, who was 3 years younger than me. We would play action figures, and I would get Ninja Turtles and Star Wars, and she would play, and I would never play with the girl figures. This is just like, a 7-year-old boy. This is just what happens, right? But she would play with the male figures, no problem. But she always wanted the female figures, but they're impossible to find. And I like this idea now that you're propelling the women forward. You're putting them in our faces, and hopefully now little girls who want to play with these toys are going to be able to play with them, and maybe even boys now won't think like I was thinking back then, because like girl toys back then were Barbie and April O'Neil, and maybe Leia. You know what I mean? Like there weren't that any female action figures in the 80s that She-Ra and Chitara.
But that's the same idea though. Like She-Ra was the female version of He-Man. So
and Kristen got the She-Ra figure, and I got the villains. The She-Ra villains. That's how it worked. But I like this idea. I like that they're propelling it forward. I think it's 2017.
And though it's a focus on female characters, it doesn't feel any different from any other story or cartoon or what have you. It's a short form.
No, exactly. So that's why I think something like this for Poe Dameron would work so perfectly.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously the problem is with Star Wars, it's just you can't break any canon. So it's not like you can take all those characters and they can just hang out.
But why can't they? Like, why can't this just be non-canon fun?
That's a good question. I don't know. It really doesn't make sense. I don't know. Just think up some silly reason, like they get all trapped in a wormhole at the same time and end up in the same time period together or something like that. It's sort of like cool. I don't know. I know you don't really watch those DC hero TV shows like the CW ones, like the Flash and Arrow, but there's like the Heroes of Tomorrow, which is basically like random characters from the other two shows, and they're on like they can go through different dimensions on like a spaceship.
Well, I don't watch those shows because the only one you've ever showed me was a musical episode of The Flash.
Did I show, what was that? Oh yeah. But yeah, like it's the same. Like you're like, oh, we just put these characters in whatever situation we want, and they can pick up characters along the way because they're outside of the normal narrative, I guess. So that just why not? Like again, I say this every episode. It seems like we're in new territory for Star Wars where the status quo is going to change. Oh, like maybe Luke's not the hero we think he's going to be in the new movie. Oh, and we're going back and forth. Like, who's going to be evil? Who's going to be good? We don't know. So maybe it's an opportunity right now to go and, like, hey, let's just do a cartoon where, like, Sabine hangs out with Leia. Oh, I guess that can happen. Or, like, Jyn Erso and Leia go on a mission to save, I don't know.
I guess it's tough, though, to have Padme and Leia in the same scene together. Hey, Mom. Yeah. Hey, daughter. Just chilling.
Why?
But,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I hope there's more stuff coming from this. It's cool.
Me too.
I noticed a lot of people think that this is the new series after Rebels. I'm like, I don't think it's the same. Like,
no, because they announced this at Celebration when they announced Rebels wasn't coming back. And if this was the next series, that would have been made known. And I think the next series is also going to be computer animation because that's what sells these days. That's what it's going to be. And Filoni, I think Filoni was on this, but I think Filoni was not overseeing it all. Like it wasn't his baby like Rebels and Clone Wars necessarily. And I think the next animated series that we're going to get is going to be 100% his again. I think.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
Well, that's interesting. Well, he might have nothing to do, but like, it'd be interesting to see that like Ahsoka is being used by non-Filoni people. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the overseer of all the animated stuff, but I think this was more in other people's hands, and he just kind of like he checkmarked. He's like, okay. Speaking of checkmarking, it's time for Never Tell Me the Odds.
Never tell me the odds.
Today's odds are brought to you by Wampa Rats. Is that a thing?
Wampa Rats. Bullseye them back home in your T60.
Boom. Never tell me the odds. Okay. So the first odd, I don't know if you read this link or not, but this is from comicbook.com. The odds of R2-D2 having a new friend in The Last Jedi. There's a rumor that he has a new droid friend that is not named C-3PO.
Oh, a droid friend. You're not talking about the article you attached?
Yeah, I am. It's a Porg, right?
Yeah, which
anyway,
is
a new friend that's not. I should have thought about what I was saying.
100%.
100%? Yeah, me too. 100%. I can't see this article not being right.
R2 is like it's like one of his things in most movies where he goes and interacts with something. Usually that's his size or can't talk, like Yoda in Empire Strikes Back, and the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, other droids in the prequels, and something landing that's cute on top of R2 and they interact in some way. That's money in the bank.
Side Akbar odd. Yeah. Do you think R2 and 3PO will reunite by the end of Episode 9? Do you think the Force Awakens scene with them together is the last time they will share screen time together?
That'd be interesting, because then does that mean, say, assuming that they don't meet up in Episode 8, does that finally break the record of them being together, or they just have to be in the movie? You know what I mean? Because usually they're together. Yeah. They might separate, but they're initially usually together. I don't know, because now we have a BB-8 sort of dynamic.
Though BB-8 isn't really associated with either one of the droids so much yet. Like C-3PO knows him, and he kind of looks up to R2 like a father figure in a way, but none of them have really interacted to a great extent yet. That would be another cool Force of Destiny I would watch. The droids hanging out.
What are the odds that we ever see something like that where they're beeping at each other and you can there's like subtitles so you can actually understand what they're saying?
in an animated show maybe, but I don't think ever in the films. All right, next odd, the odds of Moraband appearing in The Last Jedi.
Now, describe what Moraband is.
That's the new Sith planet because it used to be Korriban, but now it's Moraband.
So this is just a new name that they've
in new canon they've changed the name. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, but it's more or less going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That we'll see it in the next movie.
Yeah. I'm gonna go full Brock on this because there is a chance to me that that's where Snoke could be living out, and if that is not Snoke's planet that he's hiding out on, then we will not see it in Last Jedi. So I'm going full Brock.
I'm gonna go full Brock too because there's not enough information. Why did you put this on the odds exactly?
Because months ago they released an image of what could possibly be Snoke's home base planet, and it was red. It was red and white. So I don't think it's Crate because Crate looks primarily white, and I don't know what else. I don't think it's Mustafar. It could be Mustafar, but I don't think it is. Yeah. Just because I don't think it would ash up that fast. So that's what that one is. All right, and the final odd, back to our friend Dave Filoni. He is our friend.
Yeah.
We
all have cowboy hats.
I have too. You were just at the Stampede in Calgary.
I know. I should have bought one.
You should have bought all of us one. 5. They're not expensive. The odds of Dave Filoni directing a live-action film by 2021.
That's 4 or 5 years from now?
No. 4 years. 4 years.
All
right, Saturday's D23. What? There's an odd that Kathleen Kennedy comes out and she goes, we're announcing the Obi-Wan film, and it's going to be directed by Dave Filoni in 2020.
I feel like he deserves to direct a movie, but if the next animated Star Wars series is about to come out, that's probably going to be his main focus for the next 4 years of his life. I mean, he's overseeing things, right? But like, he's always sort of present.
Yeah. It
seems when anything, at least publicly, when anything is announced, or like, I mean, you can work around it, but you probably want to focus on something like that. I don't know. Odds though, I'm gonna say 40%, because I want to sound optimistic, but then I'm just trying to be realistic as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go 35%. I think he's focused on animation, and as much as, us fanboys want to see him do a live-action film, I don't even know if he wants to do a live-action film. Like, who's to say that's even on his radar? I mean, animation is his livelihood. That's where he wants to live. He knows, we would all trust him because of how much he knows the lore and how much he respects and loves Star Wars. But, yeah, I'm going to go, whatever I said, 35%, 30%.
Yep.
I just don't think it's on his radar as of right now.
Maybe like he should actually do a full-length animated movie, because I don't feel like we've really done that. Like Siege of Lothal is only really like an hour, and then like the one Clone Wars, that's like what, an hour or so. Like do like, I don't know, a 90-minute, maybe 120-minute sort of thing. I don't know. Try it. What's the like? If they put it out, people will buy it. Right?
But will enough people buy an animated film? Like an animated film isn't going to make, it's not going to make Force Awakens money. It probably won't even make Rogue One money. It's not going to make.
But maybe not put it theatrically. Just release it.
Oh, like yeah. I would look. I'm down for anything because, like I said, he knows Star Wars better than anybody else. Yeah. Who else would I want to see tell a Star Wars story?
Yeah.
All right. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, books or
books.
Yay! Brock, do you have any books?
I do, but I haven't read them. I think I have pretty well all the Screaming Citadel.
I can't wait for your review of that, and then I can't wait to steal those off of your hands. I don't have anything this week either, but our Nah, I was gonna say good friend, but he's not really. I wouldn't consider him a friend. Andrew Fantasia has a. Well, he has some stuff he would like to talk about. Andrew, let's throw it over to you.
Howdy, howdy, scumbags. I am coming to you from an undisclosed location with my books and comics, because I know Brock and James don't like to read, and by like, I mean know how. So I got a lot of books and comics right now because, as you know, I'm one of those guys who waits for trades. I don't just pick up issues of comics every week because I'm picky and I don't like spending $5 for something that's like this thin. So I got a lot of trade paperback comics within the past like 2 weeks, like a billion of them came out. So I'm going to, as quickly as possible, tell you what I thought about them. So first things first, we got Poe Dameron, Volume 2. What's the subtitle on this? The Gathering Storm. I think it's a figurative storm because I don't remember it raining anywhere in this book. But this was cool. It was a cool continuation of the Poe Dameron story, and we get a lot of this guy right here, C-3PO, human cyborg relations. And if you all know me, you know that I love C-3PO. He's cool. He's one of my favorite characters from the original trilogy, and we get just a lot more of him. If you are a fan of the Aftermath series of books, and you're a fan of a certain character from the team in Aftermath, I don't want to spoil it for you, but that character sort of makes a comeback in this book, and I'm not talking about Snap Wexley, because we all know Snap Wexley is already in this. He is, of course, part of Black Squadron, but no, somebody else from the team shows up in a way, shape, or form that's very neat, and it's a cool little cameo that kind of, it made the end of the story for me. Like, it kind of happens at the climax of this story arc, and it was just a nice little added bonus to everything. So Poe Dameron Volume 2, lots of fun, loved it. Then we have Dr. Aphra, Volume 1. So I finally got to read Dr. Aphra because, I've been hearing all about it. She got her own solo title. And this stuff is what I've been waiting for in terms of new canon stories moving forward. I've been waiting for new characters to spin off and create their own new stories that we can branch into. Like, I always thought it would be cool to get like a Hera comic or something, just because I love Hera. So the idea of, okay, we got introduced to Dr. Aphra in the Vader comic, and now she gets her own story. I was like, this is what new canon is all about. This is what I'm looking forward to. So we get the continuing adventures of Aphra after she leaves in the Darth Vader comic. She's got, as you can see there, Black Chrysanthemum, the Wookiee, is hanging out with her, and of course everybody's two favorite psychopath droids. This was also a cool story arc. It is very Indiana Jones in space, because that's what Aphra's all about, and Indiana Jones is cool. The color scheme threw me off a bit, because if you buy these trades, you would notice that they all kind of have a certain color that goes with them. So the Star Wars main ones are all blue. The Poe Dameron ones are orange, because X-Wing fighters wear orange jumpsuits, and so on and so forth. Like the Lando one is purple, and the Dr. Aphra one is red, just like the Darth Vader one, which is weird. I guess she's a character known for hanging out with Vader, but when I think of Aphra, I don't think of the color red. So that one kind of threw me off, but that's like, honestly, that's just a nitpick. You learn a lot about Aphra's past as well. So if you like backstories, there's a lot of that in there. And then the third trade that came out was Star Wars, the actual ongoing, Volume 5, Yoda's Secret War. Now, I love Yoda. Yoda's my boy. However, I wasn't in love with this one. And the reason I wasn't in love with this one was, minor spoilers, if you have been keeping up with these comics, like I said, this is Volume 5. Volume 4 ended with C-3PO being taken captive by the Scar Squad, those elite stormtroopers. And I was really excited because I was like, wow, okay, we're going to get to see C-3PO hanging out with these stormtroopers and potentially Vader, his maker, and we might get to see finally a little bit of in-canon connectivity between Anakin and the droid that he once built to help Mom, as he once put it. And at the very beginning of this trade, both Luke and R2 are kind of, they're so worried about C-3PO, and they go off separately, actually, to try to find him. R2 he doesn't even wait. He jumps in his own X-Wing. He pilots it himself. He's like, C-3PO is my best friend. He's my counterpart. I'm going to go find him. And then Luke kind of follows, hoping to find both of the droids at this point. And then it just takes a nosedive. Like his X-wing gets stranded, Luke's X-wing. He's in space. He's waiting for his other his other astro droid to repair his fighter. And while he's sitting in his spaceship just waiting, he picks up Obi-Wan's journal and he starts reading about an adventure that Yoda had way back in the day. And it's an okay adventure. I mean, it would have made a decent arc in the Clone Wars cartoon, but it just goes on. It takes up this whole 200 pages of this trade paperback is all of this Yoda adventure, and Luke goes to this planet that Yoda did, and I'm like, dude, why are you going to Yoda's planet? You're looking for C-3PO. He's not going to be there. He's with the Imperials. And it was just this huge sidetrack out of left field, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Marvel, you're making comics and you want to fill in gaps. You know, you're just adding filler now because that's how comics work. But I was like, come on, like volume 4 ended with this cool cliffhanger, and now volume 5 comes out and you're not even gonna touch it. Like there's literally like 2 pages of C-3PO with the Scar Squad, and then that's it. And I'm like, so we gotta wait till 6 now to see what happens to them. And I'm like, I don't mind waiting longer. It's not the waiting that bothers me. It's the fact that they just wasted it on this Yoda story that really, as far as I can tell, has no bearing on what's happening, and it's not really gonna do anything moving forward. So yeah, Yoda Secret War, I wish it had stayed secret. I'm going to add one more bonus book and or comic before I take it back to the boys. And that is this thing that I got for my birthday, Star Wars Infinities. This is Legends, so it's not canon. Sorry, kids. But Infinities was a really cool concept because these were comics that came out around the time Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith were coming out. And these were what-if stories, or as they say in certain snobby circles, what-if stories. And each one covers a different film in the original trilogy. So you have A New Hope, which tells the story of what if Luke's shot missed and he didn't blow up the Death Star. You have Empire, which says what if Han hadn't gotten to Luke on time on Hoth and Luke had frozen to death. And finally, you have Return of the Jedi, which posits the question, what if the attempt to rescue Han Solo from Jabba's palace went awry? So you have these 3 cool what-if stories, and it kind of takes you through what would have happened had those things been different. And it's a nice little treat. You know, Marvel does this a lot with their superheroes too. So it's a nice little way of looking at what could have been. Some of them are very depressing, actually. C-3PO dies a lot in this book. But that's not my favorite part of the book. My favorite part of the book is at the very end, after they cover the original trilogy, we get treated to this, which is an 8 or 9 volume story where they took George Lucas's original 1973 rough draft, where it was just called The Star Wars. They took his rough draft of that script, plucked the dialogue out of the script, and made a comic out of the dialogue. So nothing has been changed or altered. They literally just took his old dialogue and wrote a comic book around it, and it is friggin' cool. I mean, it's such a different take on what could have been, but you can see snippets of what we actually ended up with. You know, you can see characters named Starkiller. You can see characters named Windy and Wedge. Han Solo was a big green lizard alien. I mean, it's a C-3PO is that like feminine-looking one from Metropolis. R2-D2 speaks English. There's so much in here that is like you can just see all the ingredients were just tossed into a pot. And we all know, being Star Wars fans, what cuisine, what dish we end up with. But this is sort of the ingredients in their most protein form. And it's really neat. You've got Darth Vader, who is not in a suit. He's just a guy in a helmet who's really mean. And then you have another character who is a Dark Lord of the Sith, because Vader is not a Sith in this. And I wish I could remember what the Dark Lord of the Sith's name is, but it's a different name. And it's just so cool to see this take on the story. George Lucas, his dialogue was George Lucas dialogue. I mean, this is 1973, so it hasn't even been refined yet. So if you get a kick out of hearing typical Lucas dialogue in all its form, then you will definitely enjoy this. But yeah, that is The Star Wars, and that is Star Wars Infinities. You can pick this up pretty much anywhere you find comics. It is a Legends thing, so you don't have to worry about canon messing things up. Anyways, I've talked your ear off. I've wasted all your time. I'm going to take it back to Brock and James. May the force be with you sometime.
Wow, thanks, Andrew. Those were a lot of books.
Wow, thanks, Andrew.
That was insane. We totally just watched that video.
Really insightful things, and I respect you as a human being and as a man.
You, Brock, have read the Star Wars comic based on George Lucas's original scripts for it, right? That's one of the books that he just talked about. Obviously, you know that because you heard it. Yep. What are your thoughts on that book?
That book is bonkers. Like, it's almost like if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to read it. And I don't even know if I have the entire series.
You've shown me a couple of. Oh yeah, they borrow them actually.
Yeah. It's crazy, and like to a point where I don't believe that any of that is actually his initial script. I think there are parts of it, but some of it is just so. It's like if you've watched any Flash Gordon, like the movie or the old Flash Gordon serials, you're like, wow, you can really see how George Lucas was affected by that. But
I like
there's
that.
So many things in there. Plus, we all know that the word Sith wasn't really thought up, or wasn't really common use, till the prequels, and it's all over that book.
Yeah, but it's also all over Shadows of the Empire, and I think it's in a very, very old book as well. It might be one of the novelizations, like Empire or Star Wars. Sith might be set in there.
Very true. It's been a while since I've read any expanded universe stuff. And Timothy Zahn stayed very much away from it in Heir to the Empire. So
but that's one.
He didn't want to stay away. He just didn't use the word.
One of the cool things is in that is the Prince character is named Prince Valorum, who would later later use that name as Chancellor Valorum. Yeah. So Lucas is always picking and choosing.
That's what I mean. Like I sometimes read it and I'm like, you're just dropping in little things because it's just like there's like. Darth Vader and like Anakin and Luke are all like like their bits of them are put into different characters. It's very off-putting at times. Like the Luke character looks like an Obi-Wan to an extent. Like it's weird.
All right. Speaking of weird, it's time for the Hollow News.
Hollow News, talking about news and stuff. And,
live from Coruscant.
Live from Coruscant. All right.
First story.
Pick up. I'm not there, so I don't know what you're doing.
First one. Han Solo.
No, I thought the first one was Where's Rey?
No, we're gonna go with the Force
Han Solo.
Yeah.
In this post-Miller and Lord and Miller world, and this current Ron Howard world of Han Solo, there's a light at the end of the tunnel through Mr. Woody Harrelson, who did an interview this week, I believe, talking about his experience so far on the Han Solo set. And he said he wasn't informed. He was informed that Lord and Miller were let go by phone by the producer, by a woman. I don't have her name in front of me, but she's one of the reasons he is on the project. And he said his experience with Lord Miller was all good. Like they were, professional and all that, but they were also it was very important for them to like have the actors and crew, I guess, or maybe just the actors and director, I don't know, hang out and like have fun together. I don't know I think that's it's weird to say it, but I think that's vital, where they have to like enjoy each other's company sort of thing. But in no way was it tense or was there drama. Apparently, like Ron Howard came in even before they were fired to do one day of shooting or something along those lines. So he was totally unaware till he was called. And he mentions the secrecy of Star Wars, which was kind of neat, because he's saying like there's no paper script when you work on a Star Wars film, or at least for Han Solo, it's all like a Kobo tablet sort of reader where you get to read it. They give it to you, you read it in the room, and then that's it. Like there's just it's all digital, and and I think you just see what they've given you. But he says that we shouldn't lose faith in the Han Solo movie, that the Force is strong with the movie. So this is all good. This is all good stuff. I wish this had come out a week or two ago. So.
Well, nobody asked him a week or two ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But does he know where Rey is?
Where is Rey? So we've talked about this. Well, I don't think we talked about this because this happened before we started doing a podcast. But when last year, when Force Awakens was about to come out and they started putting out the merchandise like crazy, the Monopoly Star Wars it was Monopoly, right?
Yeah, I have that.
They did not include a Rey character. They had Kylo, they had Finn, they had
Luke and Vader.
Luke and Vader. So all male characters, no female.
But can I interject for 1 second on this one? As someone who has this game, I thought it was strange that there was no female. The minute that Aaron bought it for me, the minute she gave it to me, I was like, that's weird that there's no female. Why isn't Leia at least on it? But then you look, it's got to be Luke, Vader, and then 2 new characters. And the way I saw it was, right away, I'm like, they're hiding Rey from us. They don't want us to know that she's an important piece to this puzzle. And that's what I had in my mind. And sorry to take away your news story, but had they just come out and said that, which people were already speculating on anyway, had they just come out and said that, I think we all would have forgotten this story and been okay with it. But then they said they didn't think she'd be popular, which is the dumbest response you could give. Continue.
Because we know with the character of Rey, like they kind of want to keep her under wraps, and it was unique because we know that like the Rey figures, the action figures were like they sold like hotcakes, right? So it's a year later and they still have they've sort of rectified that problem, but apparently in the US you still can't buy the game with a Rey figure. If you really want it, you can email Hasbro and they'll ship it to you.
I might do that. Not that I really care, but I kind of want them just to send me something.
Well, yeah, if I don't know what you have to do exactly, but like if you want a Rey playing piece, just go to Hasbro's website and check that out. So like it's interesting that's you thought like you know what, people make mistakes, that's fine, but like this is a year later and they're still not doing it. Like I thought they had done it again when I read this article. I was like, what? So
could you imagine the Last Jedi Monopoly comes out and there's no Rey or Leia? It's just like there's a new Benicio del Toro's there. It's all men though. It's like there's no females at all. It was like, where's Holdo? Doesn't exist. It's so stupid.
It's bizarre, but
yep.
Monopoly retired the top hat, or there was a thimble recently, so who knows what they're thinking over there.
It better not be the top hat. All right, next.
And then our next story. This is a real cool thing. This is one of the beauty things about Star Wars. I'm not saying it doesn't occur in other fandom, but like a new fan film called Sith Lord Dark Legacy, I believe. Yeah. Or just Dark Legacy when you search it, because that's what I searched on YouTube. It just came out. It's about 10 minutes long. It's a story about a Sith Lord, and is she a Jedi? I can't remember. It's back and forth between a Sith Lord who's masked. He kind of looks like Kylo Ren, which I thought was really cool.
His voice is awesome too.
Swords of Sin, a former Jedi Master, goes on to author the Sith Code. So like the Sith aren't even a thing. It's just to the Jedi at this point. And I think he's trying to, he's sort of like trying to convince his old apprentice Kaya to join him in the dark side. It's very interesting. It's like I've watched it once or twice, and I feel like I need to watch it a few more times because it's really well done. It's interesting though because there's a lot with these fan films. The basis tends to be like massive lightsaber fights because now we have the technology that anyone that knows what they're doing with effects can sort of make a really cool lightsaber fight or effects and choreography rather. So it's really interesting because this is like way back. Like this is before. I mean, you don't get a lot of history of stuff, but it's for anyone that doesn't really understand why the dark side is sort of constantly existing. It does kind of explain. There's a line where he says, there will always be a dark side for light to exist. Because like for light to exist, that like darkness needs to be present. Otherwise, you're like, well, what is darkness? But yeah, the cinematographer has commented that like this is no way trying to compete with the Star Wars lore. It's just trying to, I don't know, sort of thing. Or just create more in it. Like I don't see what would if anyone would have a problem with it. It was very, very cool. But the apprentice has a yellow lightsaber, so I was like automatically Bastila from Knights of the Old Republic. I thought it was interesting that the Sith Lord, what's his name, Swords of Sin, has a green lightsaber.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought.
So I was like, oh, would it be sweet if it turns red at some point? But that doesn't seem to happen. But it's a really cool. I definitely want to watch it a few more times. It's if you like the Darth Maul fan-made film from last year, this is right up your alley. So
yeah, this one's great. All right, last story.
Last story. This weekend's D23. So
yeah,
it's in L.A., right? Is it in Anaheim?
Yep. Yeah, and Lucasfilm has Saturday morning, July 15th at 11 a.m., I believe is their time.
That's all they get.
Yeah, because it's all Disney, right? So Lucasfilm just gets one.
Yeah, because I know that I've seen a lot of Marvel stuff too. So
yeah.
So that's interesting. They only really get one opportunity to really present what they have. So
which is I'm curious about because I'm coming back to us now. Because you look at it and Han Solo just fired their directors. So do you show something from Han Solo and be like, no, we're still in capable hands here. It's going to be good. But do they even have that? Can they put that together? Do they want to? Will that, because now it's Ron Howard's film. Like, how do they handle that? The Last Jedi, we're hearing we're not going to get a trailer, but we're going to get possibly a behind the scenes sizzle reel instead. So Lucasfilm, man, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about it because I think they're gonna drop something. And to comment on your Han Solo question, like I think even if the film needs to be retooled, like they've shot 4 months of it, they can make a sizzle reel. They can just show like fans. I don't care what people are thinking of this movie. If you get to see them all in their all you have to do is show Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover in costume, and then you get to find out who. Which
I don't know if you saw, but there was a behind-the-scenes picture of them all, and we didn't put that up because that's kind of, I don't know if people want to watch that or not, so I decided.
So that was a still photo, and I was excited about that. You see Woody Harrelson, and we think we see.
Well, Chewie's there, Woody Harrelson,
Clark.
and Emilia Clarke, yeah.
So, and we all know that Michael, what's his name? Anyways, the guy Omar from the Wire is supposed to be in it, and we know Tandy Newton is definitely shooting scenes. So just show that. You just show sizzle wheel, just like Rogue One at last year's.
I don't care if it's stuff we haven't seen, if we're not going to see in the movie. Just show me something, make me excited. Yeah. Put the music on top of something, and I'll be excited. So
we're definitely going to see some stuff. So let's. Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, top 5.
Top 5. What's today's top 5, James?
Today's top 5 are top 5 Snoke theories. Top 5 Snoke theories. None of mine are funny. Mine are like legit theories that I'm like, why not? Why not? I hope yours are a little bit. All right, my number 5. I'll go first. My number 5 is Snoke is Vader. That's so. This one's not. I don't like it. I just think it's dumb. Why would he be Vader? Why?
Yeah.
Why would he be? We've seen Vader. He's not Vader. Brock?
My number 5 is Snoke is Porkins.
Porkins is actually Rey's father.
Oh,
that's true.
This is based mostly on Instagram photos where they're like, look, there's a scar here, here, and here.
My number 4 is Snoke is Tarkin. Which people believe that, and I can't figure it out because he gets blown up, which does make sense that he would be disfigured, but not that he would be 9 feet tall, unless when he gets blown up, he gets stretched at the same time.
I mean, I can see the similarities in face, but come on,
it's a face.
My number 4 is that he is a Royal Imperial Guard. I think there was something along those lines that he's sort of like one of the Red Guards in the Emperor's throne room, or he's sort of like from Rebels, like a 5th brother or 6th sister or whatever. My
number 3 is Ezra is Snoke. Ezra Bridger is Snoke. I remember watching the season 3 premiere, and I had this great Snoke theory, and we did the podcast, I think that day or the next day, and I forgot it by the time we started the podcast, and I was so disappointed. I was like, no! You're number 3.
My number 3 is... this is the one I was like... hard time finding one, because my number 2 and 1 were decided like immediately. Number 3 would be Snoke is Qui-Gon, which is like, okay.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is probably the most elaborate one I've heard, but I started bring them after I heard this one. Snoke is Mace Windu.
I like that. But you know what? The problem with that one is, if Snoke is Mace Windu, why don't they just get Samuel L. Jackson to play Snoke?
Yeah, exactly. That's I don't know, like it's like maybe it's the Wizard of Oz where like it's a man behind a curtain.
Well, that's
this
what
was before we knew that Snoke was tall and all that.
But a lot
jazz.
of people are still thinking that he's the man behind the curtain, So.
And then of course they're like, and that's why Finn is a stormtrooper or not because blah blah blah, and that makes it kind of makes the whole theory ridiculous, because like, well, if they're both black, then they're related somehow, just like how like, well, they're all pale white women with brown hair, so Jin, Padme, and Leia are all somehow like.
But that doesn't make sense, because as we know, Lando and Leia had a relationship, and Landea is Finn.
Landea.
Yeah, Landea. That's
Landea sounds
shout
like
out,
a new like talk show host or something like that.
I can't remember who's on that t-shirt, but shout out to the Landea t-shirt that was sent in to us. Landea. My number 2 is Plagueis.
Oh, I forgot about that. That should have been.
You're the only one. Everyone loves the Plagueis thing. I think it's the only one of the theories to me that still could happen. There's, unless your number 1 changes my mind, but it's the only one to me that.
Like I honestly forgot.
Yeah.
That should have been my number 3.
But there's just one. It's the only one that if you like, here's who I think Snoke is, and you gave me like 10 of them. This is the only one that I think I would actually be like, other than Snoke is Snoke. This is the only one that I'd be like, yeah, got it. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is our own theory. Snoke is Snoke. Because we don't know, so that's a theory.
That's my favorite one.
He's a new character. We've never met him. He's just a new character.
And Pablo Hidalgo said, "Can't you just let the new characters be new characters?"
Exactly, yeah.
But my number 1 is actually the only one that is accurate, and that is Wicket is Snoke. I just like that one. I do think that Snoke is just going to be Snoke at the end of the day. He's going to be a brand new character we haven't heard from, and I just hope that he doesn't. I just hope that people aren't let down by it because of all this buildup that we are at fault for doing. But everyone's obsessed with Snoke. The Star Wars show made light of everyone's obsession with Snoke, and I just hope that when we get the answer, it's not, oh, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, oh, that's it. I can't even. That is our show for the day.
Show
for today. That is the 50th episode. Back to Skyping it like we did in the good old days.
Yeah.
We're 2 weeks away from 1 year.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
Wow.
I didn't think we get past August.
That was the first month.
It was August. I think it was August 2nd was the first time we did it.
Yeah.
And it was only on SoundCloud, and then at some point we're like, let's put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember you said at one point, or like when we get to 50 episodes, then we'll start putting on YouTube and iTunes.
Yeah, we jumped the gun on both.
But that's because our fans made it clear they wanted more, and that they're like that we had something interesting. So,
and I have to say,
you.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thank you everyone with your comments, your likes, your shares, your dislikes, your negative comments, your positive comments. And the new subscribers, we went up a few. Like it was a good jump the last little while. It's fun. We love doing this. We like doing it for you, with you, talking to you. The conversations are great in the chat usually. Check out our Facebook page, Twitter page, where we can have even more conversations.
It was really interesting to see the comments on the Flying Casual with Rebel Watch, where people were saying, "Oh, finally, my favorite two Star Wars podcasts have come together." We're like, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
And we're looking forward to doing more. We're actually, I'm going to spoil this. We're going to be doing 2 votes of no confidence. Rebel Watch versus Andrew and Rob. It's going to be 2 on 2. And we're going to do 2 episodes like that. One of them might be on Raylo. So Raylo. And Ewoks might be involved in the other one. But I won't go too much further. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, Brock, where can everybody check you out?
Check me out on the internets at BF Smink on Instagram and Twitter. And that's it. I decommissioned my MySpace the other day, so you can't find me on there.
Is Tom upset?
Tom can just take a hike.
You guys can all find me at Petsafina on Twitter, Instagram, and PS4, or you can kick my butt at Battlefront. All right, Brock. May the force of others be with you.
Okay.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.